to me so many times in the moment where people are communicating with me in a way that it's shocking me, got me like shaken. I I lose my words, or I get below and I try to be super nice or apologetic. I've been wanting to go over a question that one of our beautiful members here in this group had asked me a while back, and I had messaged her about kind of what I thought about what she was describing to me, and then um, I told her a couple things. She was like, "Oh, I would love to learn more about what you're talking about," and I'm like, "Let me create a video." So my intention was I was going to create a video and all the things, and that never happened. So first of all, I apologize for that. I'm not going to say who it is because it might be a little bit of a personal question that she has asked. But I think it's a topic that's not just for this viewer. I think it is something that we can all learn from, whether we are experiencing what she's talking about or not. So let me be a little less vague.
Okay.
People can follow along. So her specific question was around hot flashes. She's been experiencing hot flashes for about 15 years. And she says they're hard, like they're really intense, day and night. And she's tried a lot of different things, natural, conventional medicine, all of it. And nothing seems to be helping. And she was asking me if from a spirit point of view, I like how she is placing it here, the question from a spirit point of view. She's curious, where could that be coming from? And if there's a message there for her. So, like I said, I shared a couple things with her, and that's all via Messenger. Um, but I'm like, there's so much more I'd like to say that I can't really say just to type on a little Messenger chat. And one of the things that came to me as I was tuning into her, but in general, the whole conversation around hot flashes. And if you're watching and you're like, I don't have hot flashes, I don't care about this, I just want to say where we're going to go with this will apply to most of us, whether we have this symptom or not. So before people leave, I want to say that. But what I said to her is what I felt is some unprocessed emotions around anger, betrayals, and just trapped emotions that the body is trying to sweat out,
Mm.
is trying to increase the heat to release. And that perhaps, because especially when we have symptoms that don't seem to be improving,
Mhm.
it usually isn't just a biochemical thing going on in the body. There usually is an emotional, mental, spiritual, like she's saying, component to it. So that's what I was feeling into, a piece about perhaps some betrayals, perhaps some things that have happened that have been a little left unprocessed, and the body is kind of continuing to send that signal. I want this out. I want this energy of unforgiveness, of woundedness, of hurt, of anger, of whatever it is. I want it out. So I'm trying to tell you about it, and that's what it was feeling for me, like, is what was going on. And then it just so happened a few more people, one in the group, another client of mine, asked about the same thing. I'm like, how interesting, right? That
Mhm.
this comes from different angles. So I was like, okay, today we really need to talk about this. So I'll let you share anything here, and then I'll keep going if there was something you wanted to add, so I don't monopolize the conversation.
Oh, no, I think you're right on point, and you're on a roll here with the idea of something burning up inside that needs to be released. Absolutely. There's a reason why they say hopping mad or burning up with anger. Um, and that's not to feel shameful or guilty,
Right,
because we all have experienced anger in our lives and may consistently experience it. And it's a process of balancing,
right.
the right mind and the ego mind. So, I mean, I want to hear more of what you have to say, Lita, but I don't want to just be over here quiet either. Um,
Yeah.
when I'm in agreement with you. I feel like there's maybe an imbalance of being able to express the self freely with
Mm-hmm.
others
Yeah.
when something's occurring that's causing these emotions or these anger responses that aren't being expressed.
I love how tuned we are always, because that's exactly where I was gonna go to next. Is sometimes we think anger is like directed outward to a person or a situation, and it could start there, but really it's the internal anger that's burning up inside of us. That's really what we want to deal with and look at. And it's nothing to be ashamed about. I think a lot of people are like, I'm not angry, right? Like, I'm not an angry person. And it's like almost like it has a stigma around it. Like, if we were to say I'm angry, I've noticed that at times, like, people say, oh, no, I'm just frustrated,
Right.
which definitely, like, there is a scale to being just mildly irritated and more irritated and really mad and like really angry. Like, there's degrees, while at the same time, of course miracles, there's a little section that says there's really no degrees, because it's an emotion you want to look at, whether it's a little bit or a lot of it. I make up my own words. It's still something to look at, and especially the internalized anger. And
Mhm.
that's what you were saying, Gilly, is where the opportunities that life has brought us in the past, perhaps, where we didn't stand up for ourselves, we didn't share what we wanted to share. People talked to us a certain way, treated us a certain way, perceived us a certain way, left us, abandoned us, betrayed us, and we didn't stand up for ourselves. We didn't say what we wanted to say in that moment because we were in a lot of fear, shock, anger, um, a lot of other experiences, especially as empaths, right? We take everything so to heart. We don't know how to vocalize in that moment. We don't know how to communicate in that moment how we truly feel. I has happened to me so many times in the moment where people are communicating with me in a way that it's shocking me, that's, got me like shaken. I I lose my words, or I get below and I try to be super nice or apologetic, or I've gotten really mad, but really in either case I haven't really said what I wanted to say, and then that would linger in me. In the past it was for years, right? That I never got to say what I really wanted to. So hot flashes or not, that's something I think a lot of us have experienced. And it can show up in the body in different ways, hot flashes being one of them. I saw you hold your heart.
Oh, I was feeling, when you were mentioning some of the different things, the word pain came into my mind. A lot of um, pain, unresolved pain, that continues to surface, but it's been so pushed aside or veiled with maybe different habits to kind of numb out the pain, that we forget why that pain's there in the first place.
Mm,
And we forget that we're not angry at ourselves, we're angry at the experience. and not being able to express it, but it
Mm.
gets misdirected towards ourselves, and then we get angry at ourselves for not having expressed ourselves freely, or not, or having adopted maybe certain habits to find a way to process these things without processing them. It's like I'm going to go ahead and do something else excessively to try and make up for the pain I'm feeling and the anger I'm feeling. I've definitely been there. Absolutely I have been there. And you were talking about empaths and how we will simultaneously feel our own feelings of shock or hurt in those moments, but also feeling the other person's anger or whatever it is that they're
Rejecting.
projecting. So it's hard to make sense of what am I actually feeling? Am I feeling anger towards them, or am I feeling their anger? Am I feeling my pain, their pain? And it gets a little muddled, and then you're like, I don't know how to move forward in this conversation in a way that allows me to be an observer
Mhm.
expressing themselves, as opposed to a person in the whirlwind of pain and frustration in that moment. And that's why I always like to, do the pause, as you have taught me, Lita, doing the pause to get that bird's eye perspective of what is really going on here, and separate yourself from that other person and their energetic field
Mm.
for just a few minutes to see what's really going on in here for me. And sometimes we don't offer ourselves that opportunity.
You shared so many good things. I almost feel like rewinding and going over every bit of it, but I
Sorry.
can't do that right now. But no, no, don't apologize at all. That was really good. I should be taking notes because you shared some, like, I feel for our lives, this has been, for most of us, we've had some experiences, no matter how great our childhood was or even our adulthood, or how not great it was. We've had these experiences where we felt, even if we don't remember them,
Mm,
um, where we felt what you just said, is this confusion of what's really going on here. Because the other person was confused themselves. And there's a lot of, in relationships, we constantly project, we constantly put our own stuff on the other person. Parents do that all the time with their kids, not intentionally, of course. But then we got to process what was just projected onto us. And it's like, what did I do? And there's this big question mark of, who am I? Like, what just happened? Is this real? Is this true? But we can't process these things early on. And even later, we don't know how to process these things. And you shared about the pause and coming within, which I want to share a bit more. But as empaths specifically, because I know we're talking to a lot of those sweet souls that are sensitive, when over time we've had these experiences, and I think especially uh, the person we're talking to right now, also with the hot flashes that have been happening for 15 years, when there's been an accumulation of experiences where perhaps you didn't know how to understand or process or be like, why did this happen?
mhm,
Why was this person upset at me or left me or made that decision? When we have things that have been unresolved like that, and we don't feel like there's a clear closure with things, or maybe there is a logical closure, but inside of our heart, it's like, but I didn't get to say all that I wanted, or I didn't even get to be who I wanted,
right.
or if there's loss and we it was a death and we never got to, you know,
Mhm,
communicate all that was in our hearts. it can get heavy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, we, like you said, we try to compensate with other things to not think about all that. We try to just deal with life and keep going forward with what we're supposed to do every day. And then these things fester, and then the body maybe shows up certain symptoms.
Mhm.
Um, I've had multiple symptoms that were constantly, Lita, knock knock.
Mhm.
Are you hearing all the wounded stuff and all the times you have dealt with a lot of things that you have not forgiven, that you have not felt you understood why it happened, that you have not felt like you were you, or you were able to even speak up for yourself, or
Mhm.
all the emotions you're carrying from everybody else. Knock knock. And for the longest time I wasn't really listening.
Mhm.
So what do you want to add here? I can tell there's
Oh, I was just thinking about, I think a lot of people, myself included, many, many years ago, had no idea that our bodies can talk to us in that way. Our bodies aren't separate from us. I mean, of course, right? These are our bodies. Our body communicates to us regularly through physical symptoms. And when we actually listen and tune into that area of the body that's having a discomfort or some kind of expression, we ask it, what is it that you need? What can I provide for you right now to bring you back into wholeness?
Mhm,
And we just sit with that question in a quiet space, in a safe space, and we allow whatever to come up.
mm,
It could make sense, it might not make sense. Write
mhm,
it down
mhm,
and give yourself that time to contemplate those things and see which one is really being highlighted in your mind that causes like feelings of expansion in your heart, because
mhm,
that's the one that's singing to you, that's asking for this remedy that you can offer it, or this baby step in the direction of solving the issue.
mhm,
And it's your body's just asking for you to hear it, to listen. And I didn't know for years that my body would talk to me in that way. I didn't know until my body was literally screaming at me,
mhm,
saying, if you don't pay attention, this is to your detriment. And you can conclude your physical life here at a shorter date, basically, at a
yep,
sooner date. And I was like, oh, this is something real. It luckily was introduced to me that there is a conversation your body has with you every single day, and every symptom, a headache, a rash, bloody nose, an ache, a pain. It's all talking to you.
all symbolic.
Hmm.
You know what book I have right next to me?
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
I was thinking that one or the encyclopedia one, but
I have that here too.
oh, I
But
love
I
that
didn't
book.
want to cut off your thought process. I do want to read from here, but I know there were a few more things you wanted to share.
Whenever this book shows up, it's a happy day in my world. This book absolutely changed my life, my thinking. It was one of many books, but it was really one of the key parts of my own building of awareness of how I'm operating in the world, the thoughts I'm carrying, therefore the emotions I'm expressing or not expressing,
Yeah.
right? And therefore the physical experiences I was having. They're all related. And I didn't know that for the first decades of my life,
Yeah.
right? Until it was like, okay, now is your time to learn, Gilly. Are you going to learn, or are you going to proceed forward doing the same thing the same way, getting the same results?
Right. So for people who perhaps are not watching, this is Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life
Mhm.
book. And I would love to read the section on menopause problems,
Oh, yeah.
which is not specific to hot flashes, but it's very related to these experiences. And
Mhm.
I think as I'm reading this, we'll see how connected it is to what we've been talking about. So Louise L. Hay, what she's done is she's connected a lot of physical problems to a mental and emotional pattern that she's in her decades of doing this work and healing from cancer herself and a lot of abuse in her childhood, and forgiving all that, and teaching self-love and mirror work and affirmations and a lot of beautiful things. um, she has found a probable mental emotional cause for a lot of different mental physical conditions. So for menopause problems, the probable cause, she says, is fear of no longer being wanted,
Mm.
fear of aging,
Mhm.
self-rejection, not feeling good enough. So for me, in our conversation with the hot flashes, it felt a lot around the self-rejection, relevant to the self-rejection and the not feeling good enough, and of not being wanted, going back to that, perhaps some old memories of
Mhm.
being betrayed, of being rejected, of being abandoned, where we learned the message or we understood the message: I am not worthy. I am not wanted. I don't matter. And then we carry that baggage for years. And then the body is showing that with, possibly, again, I'm not diagnosing or saying this is it, but possibly with hot flashes. Or again, for me, it was many different symptoms, um, viral symptoms, toxicity symptoms, thyroid symptoms, a lot of different symptoms I had: fatigue, um, weakness, cancer, a lot of things I've had that were permeated by similar patterns. So let's not stay in the in that side, on that side anymore. Let's now move to the healing side, right? Right? Let's get to that. So Louise Hay has some beautiful affirmations specific to what we're talking about. So she's saying, I am balanced and peaceful in all changes of cycles, and I bless my body with love.
Mm.
I am balanced and peaceful in all changes of cycles, and I bless my body with love.